What's up guys, it's Bye here and welcome to another Rise of Kingdoms video. Season 3 Light and Darkness KvK has started in Kingdom 1636, and with that we are going to be fighting for our first ancient ruin very soon. And I promised you guys that I would make a new tier list for best pairing commanders for ancient ruins and Altar of Darkness. So for today's videos, I will show you guys my tier list for best DPS in ancient ruins. So I am doing it a bit different today. Before, I used to put DPS and support pairing all together in one tier list, but for today's videos it will be just for best DPS only. I will make another video for best support pairing for ancient ruin and Altar of Darkness in the future. Another thing I will be doing different today is that I will present you guys the whole tier list first, in case you don't care about what I think, so that you can just see the tier list and you can either agree or disagree. So I will show the tier list and then I will go over some of the pairings that I think I need to provide more explanations. So let's go in my official commander pairing tier list for the best DPS for ancient ruins / Altar of Darkness here. So let me hear some drum roll here before I present you guys my tier list. Alright, so here comes a tier list. There you go. So this is a tier list for best DPS commander pairing for ancient ruins and Altar of Darkness. So let me go to the list here. Alright, so at S+ rank, which is one of the best pairings you could possibly bring to the ancient ruin and Altar of Darkness. At S+ we have Chaumatel, O'Reilly Ferguson. 1 second here, let me make sure I get his name right. O'Reilly Ferguson. Okay, so Chaumatel and O'Reilly is number 1. We have Guan Yu and Leo, 2 AoE commanders there. So one thing I need to explain to you guys, what do I mean by best DPS pairing for ancient ruins. So best DPS is not just bringing 2 highest DPS commander and then just make it work. For me, in my opinions, best DPS is not just like how much damage you can deal for just one skill, but how often, how long you can deal the damage, and like for I would say for a span of either like 2 to 3 minutes fighting in the ancient ruins, how much damage you can deal and how many targets you can deal the damage to. And as well, another thing I want to keep like put in consideration when I put the tier list together is the march speed, the mobility, how fast you can go to the ancient ruin can greatly affect your DPS as well. So a lot of the commander with like very good march speed are kind of like have the advantage when it comes to the ancient ruin fight. Anyway, so that is something that I want to let you guys know. So we have a Guan Yu and Leo's at S+ here. We have a Chaumatel and YZ at S+ again, one of my all-time favorite pairing. We have a Guan Yu and Alex also at S+ tier, so those are 4 infantry pairings. For Cavalry, we have Attila Takeda, Saladin Takeda, Saladin and William and Takeda. So 4 pairings there for Cavalry. Saladin and Takeda very high single DPS, even though they don't have very high AoE skill damage, but their single DPS is very high, and they can inflict a lot of severe wounded. So that is why they are at the top there. Saladin and Takeda as well, very high single DPS and very tanky as well. We have two new carry commander at S+ tier here, which is Saladin and William and Takeda. One thing I like about William is that he worked very well in mass PvP, because some of his skill can work very well when you swarming down the target. And consider in Ancient Ruin or like Altar of Darkness where there's so many marches attacking, and the enemy got like when you fighting the enemies, they gotta be constantly getting swarmed. They gotta get targeted by multiple marches, so that the target gotta get swarmed all the time, so that they gotta have that swarming status, so that William skill gotta kick in pretty much all the time. William also have a very decent AoE skill damage as well, which can work very well. As I said before, AoE skill damage can bring your DPS up by a lot. Next one, we have two archer pairing. So we have Artemisia and the new archer commander, which is Nobucha, and we have a Prince Edward and Nobucha as well. Artemisia and Nobucha, two AoE skill damage commanders there for archer. Artemisia with defense 10-3, which have very good survivability when it comes to mass PvP. Prince Edward and the Butcher, very high mobility marches for archer, and very good DPS as well. So those are the two archer pairing I think deserving to be in the S+ tier. For S tier, we have Richard and Hurrell. So Richard and Hurrell is a little bit high, on a lower tier comparing to like Charmatel and Hurrell, because they don't have a very high march speed. The mobility is a big issue with any pairing that have a richer primary. Too slow, especially for infantry, one of the slowest marches. Slowest troop type for other troop type as well. So it's lacking behind a little bit on the mobility, but Richard making up for that lack of mobility by his tankiness. So that is why he's here. Richard and Hurrell can fight for a long time. So that just keep it out there. So he making up for his lack of like DPS by staying longer on the field to fight longer. So as I said before, for me, DPS is not just how you dishing out just 1 or 2 skill damage and you call it a day. For me, DPS is about how long you can fight. Like how long you can fight and how long you can deal damage to the target, to the enemies. That is why Richard and Hurrell is at the S tier. We have Alex and YSG as well, very good pairings there. Saladin and YSG here. We also have a Guanyu and Traumatal, very high mobility marches for infantry. And next we have Prince Edward and YSG there, decent AoE skill damage from YSG providing, and then very high mobility marches for archer as well. We have a Prince Edward and Tombris, very high single DPS marches there. Next one we have Alex and Leo's. I think a lot of people underestimate, like I think Leo is underrated. I think one thing is that because like people think there are many other better options than him, but I think Leo can work very well. Like I like using Leo, especially if you can have him expertise. He can provide very high skill damage and very high damage overall in terms of like normal attack or a single or counter attack damage. So another very good pairings there, well deserving at S+ tier. And we have another 2 archer pairing here, which is what's the name again? Ramsey and Nabucha. So Ramsey, a very good skill damage reduction, can help quite a lot when it comes to mass PvP and reduce the AoE skill damage you take. Nabucha, very good, decent amount of AoE skill damage, plus very decent defense, can help Zit March it last longer, especially for an archer pairing, archer marches. You need that defense and you need that damage reduction there. The only things that I am rating Ramsey and Nabucha at S tier instead of S+ tier comparing to Prince Edward and Nabucha is that because Ramsey doesn't have any mobility, so a little bit slow comparing to Prince Edward there. Next one we have Artemisias and YSG, 2 archer commanders that have a very good AoE skill damage. S tier because there are no, so S tier because they are slow. So mobility, they are lack that mobility a little bit there. Like you could either, I would say it arguable to be either S or S plus tier. But for me, it lacks that mobility that needed to go to the ancient ruin faster or just like chasing down the enemy. Other than that, like the AoE skill damage is amazing from Artemisia and YSG. Don't get me wrong. So that is why I put them in S plus tier. S minus, we have a Richard, YSG here. Richard and Alex also in S minus, single target. Decent DPS there, and can last very long. So Richard and YSG is in S minus and not S plus. Like you asking me why Richard and YSG is not doing as well as Trombertown and YSG. As I said before, the problem with the march using Richard primary is that the mobility, the march speed is too slow. And sometimes you just cannot keep that like constant contact on the enemy, especially if the enemy try to kind of run away. They pull back in mass PvP. You can't just go after them. You gotta lose that contact right away, and you cannot maintain that damage. So that is why Richard and YSG is S minus and not S plus tier, comparing to Charmer, Tau, and YSG. So we also have Artemisia and Ramsey here. Prince Edward and Ramses also at S minus, single DPS there, tanky. Richard and Leo's is also at S minus, again very slow infantry marches there. We have a Saturn and Sanzu at S minus. We have a Leo and YSG also at S minus. Same thing, like both of the commander can deal very good AoE skill damage, but Richard and Leo's primary has the same issue, mobility. They do not move very fast. And what I've been observing is that when I use them is that they just kind of lag behind. They just like falling behind comparing to other marches. So that is the issue with them. We have Chombatel and Sanzu at S minus here. Very good legendary with epic commander pairing there. Very good. Like you can still use them if you like a budget player, or are you still like working on some other legendary commander. Guan Yu and Sanzu also S minus. Guan Yu and same tier with Guan Yu and YSG. It is because Guan Yu and YSG is too squishy. I've used it pair before. It just feel like I had to refresh it pair very frequently, just because they don't have any sort of like damage reduction, and when it comes to a mass PvP, they just soaking in so much damage, and I just can't maintain them for very long. So that is why they are S minus. But like in terms of like initial damage, if you're talking about like if I wanted to do a damage for like first 10 seconds, Grand Yu and YSG is gonna be very good. But as the time go by, they just can't maintain that high DPS. Like they can do very high DPS at the beginning, but not as the time go. They cannot maintain that DPS comparing to other marches that have a very high survivability, good tankiness. So that is why they are S minus tier. We have here Artemisius and Thomas at S minus as well. Decent AoE skill damage, lack mobility there. Let me see if Thomas have any march speed bonus. 1 second here. Attack bonus here. Yep, so another prompts. So that is why they add S minus. So Artemisius and Thomas, none of the commander have a march speed bonus. A decent AoE skill damage and very good, I would say very good skill damage. One AoE skill damage commander, one single DPS commander. But again, the mobility, the lack of mobility that puts them at S minus tier there. And we have a whole bunch of other pairing here at like A plus and A minus here. You guys can go over them. But I just want to provide you guys a new updated tier list for the best DPS when it comes to like Ancient Ruins and Altar of Darkness 5. I hope you guys find the tier list helpful. Let me know in the comment if you agree or disagree with the tier list, or if I miss out on any like commander pairings. There are so many possible pairing out there, and it's pretty hard for me to put all of them together. I am just putting the list together with some of the best commander pairings that I think they are out there, and some of the commander pairings that I've seen to be used quite a lot on in mass PvP. Like I could miss out some pairings. If you think I missed out some pairing here, let me know in the comment, and maybe I'll update another one in the near future. Thanks for watching the video, guys.